Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today I am going to be sharing my thoughts on Eden Zero Volume 17 from Hiro Mashima, which is another excellent volume. A lot of great battles here and a lot of setup for what's going to happen later on in this arc. Because right now you have the Eden Zero led by Shiki and all his friends going into the planet Nero 66 to take on Shura, Poseidon Shura, who is the son of Poseidon Nero, one of the Orations Seis Galactica, and stop them from activating the All-Link system, which will destroy all the robots in the Aoi cosmos. And there's all these different factions colliding. You have the Eden Zero working with Oasis, who is the resistance group trying to, have harmony between the humans and the robots. You have Ziggy, who over the past few volumes has turned evil, and he wants to take control of the All-Link so that he can have the robots destroy all the humans. You have Shura, who wants to destroy all the robots and have the humans take control. And then you also have a racer of the Orations Seis Interstellar, who's attacking, Ocean 6 and Poseidon Nero and all of them, on behalf of the good guys. So all sorts of crazy stuff going on, all these different factions colliding, and all these unlikely alliances. And I gotta say, we got a great cover here, especially featuring all these ladies, because we all know Mashima is an excellent artist of female characters. And you have some of the Ocean 6 on here. You have Nase, Lyra, Callum, Mirani, and Ijuna. Ijuna is not part of the Ocean 6. She is the secretary of Poseidon Shura. And these four are part of the Ocean 6. The only one not pictured is Fabiano, who doesn't even appear in this volume. I think he appeared last time. And it's funny, his name is Fabiano, and he looks exactly like the IRL person, Fabio, who is like a male fashion model. And then there was another member called Saika, who was actually a robot. And he was murdered by Shura because, Shura wants to control All-Link to destroy all the robots. And he said, what the hell is a robot in the Ocean 6? We're going to kill him. So, let's get right to this excellent volume right here. And without further ado, let's do it. So here's all the factions here. We have Shiki, Shura, Goodwin, who's with the Oasis, and then Eraser of the Orations Seis Interstellar. And I was trying to mention this. Look up this color page. I'm sure you can find it on Twitter, or maybe if you just search online Eden Zero color pages, you'll find this. And I always found this hilarious because what's happening here is Witch is elbowing Homura right there, and Homura's face is so red, and you can kind of see it the shading. And I just wonder what what sisters say to Homura. It's just hilarious to me. So Goodwin with Ibaraki and the Oasis are sort of attacking all the ships so that the Eden Zero can make their way into the planet, which they do. And they decide to set up all these different factions where they're going to have the Shining Stars stay behind on the ship. They're going to have a faction go into outer space to help Oasis. And then they're also going to have some characters go on the ground and try and figure out where the All-Link system is so they can stop it. So as they're doing this, they see that someone's standing right there, and the gravity starts taking hold of the ship, and it's Shura. And that's the thing. There's three characters that all wield gravity ether gear. Shura, Shiki, and Ziggy. And they're all connected to Ziggy somehow, because Ziggy taught Shiki and Shura when they were both children how to wield gravity ether gear. So everyone's panicked. Well, not really. Most people are remaining calm and cool. But Mosk over here is having an absolute meltdown. And there's a running gag with him where he has this stupid button on his belly button that says, don't push. And he always threatens that he's going to push it. And then Sister says, don't you push it, Mosco, or you'll be sorry. So I wonder what's going to happen when he finally does push that button, because he's going to do it. So that they can carry out their plan, Shiki says, I'll go there and confront Shura, and you guys, try and stop All-Link. So this panel, dude, look at this pose right here of Shiki standing defiant. This is so awesome, and they're both eyeing each other up. I guess you're Shura, yeah, so? And Shiki's here to stop them. And sort of having their two different ideals here, where Shiki has fostered all these great relationships between the androids with the Shining Stars, with Happy and Pino, and all the other robots he met along the way, even with Xenolith, who trained him a few volumes ago. And Shura asks him, how are you connected to Ziggy? And Shiki says, he's my grandpa. Grandpa? He's a freaking robot. What do you mean? How are you related to him? And he's giving his whole speech about how robots have hearts and you just don't understand. And Shura's ready to attack him with the gravity ether gear, and Ziggy grabs his hand and stops him. Look at that. And you see the shocked look in his face, like, oh, you use gravity too? How do you do that? And he actually throws it up in the air and knocks him off guard, which, wow, look at that. Shiki getting a few hits in on him. So, blood coming out of his mouth there, a right hook, actually a left hook right there, right to the face. So, some good stuff. And it cuts over here to Eraser, who is talking to Oasis, and they say, let's work together to take down these enemies. And that's a good thing we got going there. You should have seen Eraser, I think it was the last volume, where he was he's still on the outside of the ship here, using his ether gear, just attacking everyone. A one-man army here, like it's showing how powerful he is. Because we've seen Justice, too, so the Arashon, Sace, Interstellar are all very powerful in their own right. And now what Shura does is he takes these, objects out of the ground and starts throwing them at Shiki. And he says that, you manipulate the gravity around you, but I just use the gravity to throw heavy objects at you, so therefore I'm more powerful. Ha ha ha. Which, yeah, Shura definitely is more powerful than Shiki. And this is a thing that you always see in a lot of shonen, anime and manga, where the good guy gets a few hits on the bad guy, and then the bad guy says, ha ha ha. I've only used 5% of my maximum power. You're done for. So, Shura gets the upper hand here. And this is where we have the two different factions, or rather groups, going their separate ways, where we have Chris, Clean, and Laguna going into outer space to attack the enemy drones. And then the ground troops, we have Rebecca, Weiss, Homura, Happy, Pino, and our boy Moscow, who's cosplaying as Master Shiki now. And their faces, look at Homura and Rebecca, and Happy is like, what the hell? But Pino is still just a very cheerful little robot, so you gotta love that. And then Shiki's using his Magic Mech attack, Gravity Center. So Shiki's still putting up a decent fight here, and after seeing how powerful his attack was, Shura says, wow, I didn't think anybody could be that awesome. Hey, Shiki, be my friend. And if you know Shiki, his whole goal is going around to make as many friends as possible. So he's trying to hear Shura out, and he says, I'll be your friend, but what you have to do is you can't kill all these robots with the all-link system. You just can't do it. And Shura says, well, we have a goal to defeat Ziggy, so let's work together to defeat Ziggy. And Shiki says, well, okay, let's defeat Ziggy, but you can't hurt all the innocent robots. And he says, robots, they're trying to take the rights away from the humans. Screw all the robots. Come on, Shiki. And Shiki slaps the hand away from him. He slaps Shura's hand. We do need them. I can be friends with someone who thinks differently from me, but that's one idea I can never get behind. I would never be your friend. So, look at that, man. How fucking awesome is that? So, in response, what Shura does is he activates all these robots that he has programmed to work for him, because he just heard Shiki say how he loves robots and how he has many robot friends. And Shura says, well, you're going to have to fight all these guys now. Take that. I'm going to go see what your friends are all about. And he decides to go up to the Eden Zero and confront the Shining Stars. All that's left up there, of course, is Witch, Sister, and Hermit. So as all that's going on, they're like, what is this gravity ether gear? And it's crashing right to the Eden Zero ship. And here comes Shura. And he's like, wow, you're just a bunch of bots. Your good friend Shiki's massacring some bots down there, too. How does that make you feel? So Witch says, get in your battle dresses, re-equip. And as they're getting ready to do that, it takes a few minutes. He uses gravity to stop them and knock them down. And he says, oh, I got curious, so I came to look at his precious toys. I'd love to see the look on his face once I break them. And look at his sadistic face there. What a bastard. So that is all going on. Our heroes on the ground here make their way to this room where they see a bunch of mirrors, and Homura in particular sees her reflection, and then sees like an evil version of herself, and Weiss, catching on, is like, Homura, don't do it, what are you doing? And it turns out this is actually Mirani, this woman right here, who is part of the Ocean 6, and she's on the other side and uses hypnosis ether gear, so she's controlling Homura now. So it cuts back over here to the Oasis, this ragtag group of resistance fighters with Ibaraki, which his catchphrase, I think so, which sort of means guess so, if I'm doing the translation correctly. And this is them communicating with Eraser, saying, let's work together, let's fight together. So awesome to see the relationship being built between these guys. So cool. And then we have Shura here attacking the Shining Stars as it cuts back down to Shiki, who is trying not to harm these robots because he doesn't mean any harm, but they're being controlled by Shura. And what happens is they have a timer on them, and it's counting down, and as it goes to 0, long live Master Shura! Long live Master Shura! Activating self-destruct protocol! And there's a giant explosion. They're like, oh no, what's going on? And then Chris decides to go check on Shiki to see if he's okay, to see what's going on with the explosion. So Homura is being controlled by Mirani's hypnosis. It's kind of funny that there's these mirrors and her name is Mirani, like Mirani? I don't know. I guess that's sort of like the pun there. And Moscow says, come on, Homura, you're my friend, right? And she just kicks her right in the face. And they're like, what is going on? We gotta stop it. So Rebecca, because she has the Cat Leaper, can go back in time. She had the one where she went back in time. It was very impactful during the Drock and Joe arc and went back a few days. But now she's been training a little bit and she can go back 90 seconds. So she says, maybe if I go back 90 seconds, we can stop Homura from looking in the mirror. And what happens is now Weiss gets controlled and starts pointing his gun at Rebecca. And she's like, oh no, what do we do? What do we do? So she decides to go back in time anyway. And it's like, don't look at the mirror. Whatever you do, don't look at the mirror. And we find that the real Homura is on the other side of the mirror where she meets Mirani. And again, dude, like the character design, man. Mashima with the female character design is the absolute madman. And actually, fun fact about the whole Ocean 6, all these characters here, they're all fan submitted. He had a poll on Twitter, or not really a poll, but he had something going on Twitter where people submitted their, what they want the characters to look like, the concept art, and their ether gear abilities. And he listened to the fans, so I thought that was really cool. Great interaction there. So Homura starts facing off against Mirani, and they go toe-to-toe. And what happens now is Mirani breaks all this glass from the mirrors and starts attacking her with all the shards. And Homura can't find the real Mirani because you see a reflection in all the different mirrors here. So, starts trying to stab her with all the shattered glass pieces. And Homura is getting her ass kicked here when she gets a few hits on Mirani and sees the real version of herself, and she's using her ether gear again, and Homura is just getting slashed all over the place. So just as she's lying defeated, what happens is she gets up and she says, I'm Homura of the Demon King's 4 shining stars, the sword that will guide the Eden Zero to Mother. The sword will strike you. And you see like the ether gear in her leg starts glowing a little, and she does this attack. I think she did it for the first time in Volume 8 after she learned that Valkyrie had died. It was called Odin's Strike, and she goes, Warrior Maid, ultimate attack, Odin's Strike. And you see her hair's different, and she has like these cat ears. And Homura starts thinking to herself, like, what's going on? This power, the ether critical point. Is this overdrive? And yes, Homura has achieved overdrive, and she has this new transformation. Now, at this point in the story, the only other character who's achieved overdrive has been Shiki against Drock and Joe. And I find it, I guess Rebecca, to a certain extent, achieved ether gear, they all have ether gear, overdrive, when she went back in time. But as far as battling, really the only one, aside from Shiki now, has been Homura. So I find it cool. It shows how powerful she really is. And if you look at the color drawing of this, she has white hair. So I think it's cool, because same with Shiki, his hair gets white too when he goes into overdrive. So I find it cool how they have this like almost Super Saiyan like transformation. So how badass is that? We got Homura in her overdrive form. So Chris makes his way to the rubble here and finds Shiki just, covered in all these robot parts. And he's like, what's going on, Shiki? And he starts crying. Oh no, all those robots died. So here's Homura and Mirani. He's like, oh, how do I defeat this woman now? There's no way. Mirage trigger. But Homura's just slicing her. She can't keep up, and she does her ultimate attack here. Kitsune, perfect circle strike. And knocks her down. So I don't think Mirani dies here, but as she's, lying defeated, she says to Homer that androids do in fact have lives, and I should have stood up to Shura. And it has a flashback here to Saika, that's his name. He was part of the Ocean 6. I think he died in volume 15. You see Shura fucking blew his head off. And this is her as a young girl saying, when I grow up, I want to be in the oceans. And then Saika says, do you now? I have no doubt you will be. And she says, Grandpa died, and I couldn't do anything to stop him. So, lying in her defeat, she admits that, she was wrong and should have stood up to Shura after what happened to Saika. So Chris asks Shiki what the hell happened here, and Shiki reveals that, the robots all self-destructed, but there were a few sentient beings still remaining, and they protected him as they exploded. And you see, we'll protect you. No, guys, don't do it. Don't be sad. We were doomed to die anyway. And they exploded. We don't want to die. And you see the robot crying, just holding true to, the relationship that Shiki has with all the other robots where, they're not all evil, and most, in fact, are his friends. And just a sad moment right there for Shiki. So then he says to Chris, we got to go back to the Eden Zero and find out what happened. And you see Sister and Hermit are lying here. Sister's missing a leg, and Hermit is missing an arm. And they're like, what happened? They took her. He took Witch. And you see the look in Shiki's eyes, and then it shows Short here. Come and play. We're friends, aren't we? And he's got Witch all battered and bruised and tied up there. So they're able to heal Hermit and Sister because they have the capabilities on the ship. So they do that. And Chris says, he's got to stay behind on the ship and make sure nothing happens to these two again. And he contacts Clean and says, how you doing? Well, it's not a challenge, especially with Laguna Reno's help. She has nicknames for everybody, so that's so cute. Laguna Reno. So with that, Shiki says, I gotta go and rescue Witch. I gotta fight Shura. And Chris says, don't do that. You can't go on without a plan. I have to. It's the only thing I must do it. You can't stop me. So Chris is like, all right, go ahead, Shiki. So it cuts over here to Witch, who wakes up, and she sees she's all tied up, and then Shura, yo, what are you doing? You're not dead. And then he's talking about how she's an android, but she's so soft, and he starts groping her. What an ass. And then he throws a knife at her. You see he's got all these tools on his table, and he throws a knife, and she starts grimacing in pain. Oh, it feels pain. This is going to be a lot of fun. And he starts doing some more sick shit to her, and stabbing her all over. You need to learn not to disobey your human overlords. So it cuts to the Central Command Center here where we meet Lyra, who is now commanding these other troops. And they're like, why do we have this young lady controlling us? Where is Sir Fabiano? So then as they're making the way to the next villain, what happens is Weiss and Rebecca start going, I'm so scared. And they're like, what the hell's going on? Because the robots aren't affected, but the humans are, where they meet the next villain of the Ocean 6, Nase. And then cuts back over to Lyra, who's given orders, the show is about to begin. Goddamn, look how cute she is, too. Again, Mashima with the great female character designs. So back in outer space, we have Eraser working with the Oasis, and then all of a sudden this other ship comes out of nowhere, and Eraser says, don't shoot that ship, that's an ally of ours. And you see, 7 stars, pass your judgment. Grand Chariot, and it's Justice of the Orashion 6 Interstellar as well. So even more reinforcements. Although Justice has a bone to pick with Shiki. They share the common enemy with Shura, but Justice is not on friendly terms with Shiki because of his relationship with Elsie. It makes me wonder if we'll see Elsie in this arc, too. So as all this is going down, the robots are like, how the hell are we going to stop this guy when our 2 most powerful friends are being controlled? And Moscow says, don't worry, I found his massive weakness. It doesn't affect androids. So he rips off his clothes and he says, I will hit you with the full force of Galactic Yokozuna. Galactic Yokozuna style. Meteor face slap shower. Hot, 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 hot. Look at his hands. Look how fast he's going. And Nase just kicks him right in the face and he knocks him down. And actually, his ether gear can affect robots as well. So he starts, using his hypnosis powers on Moscow where he goes, moo la la. What the fuck? And Happy and Pino, oh no, what are we gonna do? So everyone's being controlled except for Happy and Pino. So the two of them have to step up, and Happy transforms into the Happy Blasters, which he can't aim them because he doesn't have Rebecca, but he's able to knock Nase off balance. And then Pino, look at her go! Activate EMP! Look at her jump in the air! And with activating EMP, she's able to disable his ether gear, disabling his hypnosis powers, and so everyone goes back to normal. And, you know, what happens is Nase figures out that Pino is actually the biggest threat of them all, so he uses hypnosis on her to begin with and makes her think she's a mole, and then makes Happy think he's a bird. Cuckoo, cuckoo! Look at Rebecca's face. And then Moscow is a party girl. Like, OMG, Mus LOL, let's party. What the fuck? So now with that, he's going to use hypnosis yet again on Weiss and Rebecca because, you know, they were too distracted looking at the hypnosis on the robots. And what they start doing now is they start choking themselves to death. And they start saying, I want to die. I'm going to kill myself, but I like it. And like, what a sick scene this is, where they're like blushing, sweating, like, oh, I love it. I love killing myself. What the fuck? So Lyra shows up and says, you can have the boy, but I'm going to take the girl. And for all you people into strange fetishes, they start having Rebecca walk on all fours, pretend to be a dog. You see her, arf, 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 come with me, little girl, arf. Like, what the fuck? So Lyra, who knows what she's going to do with her? We're going to have our fun. And now it's just Nase and Weiss. And what happens is Weiss is able to re-equip the Arsenal Mark II. Arsenal Mark II, requip! And what Weiss says is when he had that brief moment back to sanity, he was able to program Arsenal to re-equip automatically on a given timer in case he was under hypnosis again. And that's exactly what he did. So he gets in his mech suit. But in doing so, what happens is Nase reveals that he has a mech suit of his own. And this is setting up for Volume 18, where it's going to be a great mech battle between the two of them. So look how cool that is, man. So then, like, goddamn, dude. Like, you already know Rebecca is hot as hell. This Lyra is hot as hell, too. So we have Lyra taking Rebecca to the dressing room where she still thinks she's a dog. And she says, take off your clothes. You're going to put this outfit on for me. So, I mean, first of all, just look at the curvature. Look at the ass and just the aisles and everything. And she takes off her clothes and starts undoing the hypnosis when she's knocked unconscious. And as she's lying there naked, Lyra's like, ooh, look at you. Look what beautiful legs you have. So then, as the volume ends, Rebecca wakes up in an alternate timeline where she sees an older Shiki, who says good morning, and also an older Master Noah. And they reveal this is an alternate reality, alternate future, the worst possible one, where Rebecca cannot use her cat leaper because she's lost her legs. What an ominous conclusion right there. So this was an excellent volume, sort of setting up future battles, particularly Weiss against Nase, and then Rebecca against Lyra, which we'll see next time. But again, like, the character designs, once again, knocked out of the park. This guy, Callum, didn't appear at all in this volume, which is interesting, but he's, I guess, the head member of the Ocean Six. So I'll see him shortly. I thought it was awesome. This was even early on, though, when Shiki went down to confront Shura. And just this whole page right there is so good. But Shura has kidnapped Witch and rendered the other Shining Stars useless right now. And then also seeing Homura with her overdrive. Awesome, man. But definitely the highlight for me was seeing Rebecca with Lyra. And I can't wait to see their battle in the next volume. So as far as the next volume, I think the next volume is kind of in August, but I'm not too sure of the exact release date because these things constantly get delayed. So we'll see what happens. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Have a great day, everybody.